Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? I know it's been a long night, so let's get up, do some stretches. Okay, keep it loose, keep the energy flowing, get through this last presentation, and I think that you guys will really like it. My name's Casey Papp. This is Clear Expectations, Leader-Member Exchange, and Team Success, a documentary film done in 3 parts. And here goes nothing. And I'll show a clip. I'll end the clip with a quote, and I will say, "Making shots counts, but not as much as the players who make them." That's Mike Krzyzewski, head coach from Duke men's basketball. They were the national champions this year, so there's his credibility. And I think that you'll find that that quote is meaningful in light of my presentation by the end. So, who am I? I'm a baseball person. I love baseball. I remember being 5 years old and going to Wrigley Field with my grandfather, my grandmother, my mom, and my sister, spending my birthday there, and really making some great memories and growing up around baseball. It's part of who I am. When I was young, I played on a lot of sports teams. I remember spending summers with all my friends, going to the ballpark after our games, and hanging out with girls at Silver Cross Field, wearing my baseball uniform, feeling like I was all cool, hanging out with my friends, talking about the game that we had just won, and that helped build my confidence and helped make me into a person who really just loves baseball and likes to see himself succeed as a part of a team. So what I had to do was create research, and I had to do a research paper, and that research paper eventually turned into a documentary. The research paper was titled Leader-Member Exchange and Team Success, and as a student athlete I was always intrigued by how coaches and players interacted and how some of them were unsuccessful and some of them were successful. I wanted to figure out what the successful ones were doing that the unsuccessful ones weren't, aside from talent and instruction. So what did I do? I made the research paper, I made the documentary. I'll tell you about the process of both of those. I'll tell you about the research, and then I'll tell you about the documentary itself and the production process, and then I'll tell you about what some strengths were, and then I'll conclude and let you know what I learned. So I did it first semester and second semester, and I've had some success as a baseball player and as a football player. In high school, my junior year, I was part of a runner-up state champion football team. Senior year, I was part of a runner-up state champion baseball team. Summer going into senior year, I was part of a runner-up state champion summer baseball team. My freshman year of college, I was part of a national champion baseball team. And then sophomore year of college, the summer going into junior year, I was a member of a national qualifying baseball team. And even in 8th grade, I had a elementary school state championship. So I've had some success. I've also taken relevant coursework such as communication ethics, communication responsibilities, media production, sport communication, research in Senior Seminar 1 and research application in Senior Seminar 2, along with communication perspectives. So let me tell you about Leader-Member Exchange. It's a process. It happens in 3 steps. First is role making, so tasks, and then role taking, so taking on those tasks, and then role routinizing, doing those tasks and being in a particular role over time. When these things are done, there are in-groups and out-groups in a team. So there's people that are entrusted with more responsibility and respected more by the leader, and there's people that are entrusted with less responsibility and less respect by the leader. How does this happen? It's a two-way street. The coach has to evaluate players and athletes based on whether they should be in the in-group or the out-group, and the athlete themselves also decides, am I going to be in the in-group or am I going to be in the out-group? Am I going to show that I'm responsible and willing to do the extra work and willing to take on the extra responsibility, or do I just not really care that much? So what needs to happen is trust and respect need to be built, because if a coach can create an environment where the players can respect the coach, and the coach shows respect for the players, and the coach shows that he cares about the players and that he cares about the team and how the team does, then the players are going to recognize that, and the players are going to want to put in that work for the sake of the team and for the sake of the coach. So how do you build trust and respect? When you build trust and respect, the out-group kind of becomes eliminated. If the coach includes everybody in the in-group, gives everybody the opportunity to be responsible and have respect, then the only people who aren't going to be responsible and have respect are people who choose not to be responsible and not to be respect-worthy. So how do you build trust and respect? Well, you do it in a few ways. You have to promote an affective learning environment, which is an environment where an athlete is self-motivated. In college, athletes are already expected to be self-motivated. You're here for a reason. You're here because you've already put in time and effort. And affective learning means doing something for the sake of the love of it, as opposed to doing something for the reward. So if I like history in high school and I like history class and I don't like biology class, but I want to get an A in both classes, I might study history because I like the stories and because I genuinely am interested, and I don't care about the A, I just really want to learn this stuff, then I'm going to get an A anyways. Versus biology, I might have to really painstakingly study stuff that I'm not interested in and hopefully get that A. I'm doing it for the reward there. I'm not doing it because I love it. So that's affective learning. In a sports context, I want to play baseball, for example, because I love baseball. I want to put in the time off the field to be successful in it because I really just enjoy being successful in this sport that much. That's affective learning. Coaches don't control that, but they play a role in it. So what a coach can do is a coach can show, like I said before, a coach can show that he cares. And how does he show that he cares? By acting with immediacy. Immediacy is when you show that you care. It's when you show that this is important. So if a baby is crying and a mother wants to coddle it and say, "Look, you're important to me. I don't want you to cry anymore," then that baby is going to feel like it's important and it's going to stop crying. Same thing goes for coaches. If a coach shows a team that he really cares about the success of that team by putting in the work and the time, then the team is going to recognize that. If a coach shows a player that he is personally invested in that player's success on and off the field, in the present and in the future, then that player is going to recognize that and want to do better for the coach. So I took all of these research aspects and I put it into a documentary in 3 parts. The first part dealt with building trust and respect because I felt that was the most important part. Once you do that, then all these other things go well. Second was goals and empowerment. So once you build trust and respect, you have to make the roles for players based on setting goals and empowering players, giving them the opportunity to succeed. Then finally, roles are taken on and routinized over time by motivating. Coaches motivate players in a bunch of different ways, and I'll get into that. And then I'm going to talk about the production process afterwards. So, got a video.
Somebody who's going to.
So in this video, it's a coach saying that if you care about your players, then your players are going to care back, and they're going to want to do good. And then it was a player saying, we recognize that our coach cares about us, and that makes us want to play that much better for him. So what does this mean? When a coach knows the athletes, and the athletes know the coaches and the other athletes, then there's respect. Respect comes by showing that you're worthy of respect, by getting to know people, getting to know people's character. And if you care about the team and its purpose as part of your character, then that's going to create trust and respect. So you have to establish those things. And now we're going to talk about role making and goal setting.
One goal is
So
what we all bring successfully to the team.
So what do we learn from this? When a group of individuals has one thing that they can all relate together with, then that's going to bring them together. That's going to say, look, this is what you want, this is what I want, let's go get it. And so that clear goal and that elevating goal, that goal that's going to push people beyond what they're capable of, to exceed their own limits, that's what's going to motivate, that's what's going to self-motivate people. That's promoting an effective environment. And putting the team goal over the individual goal, that's essential. When players put individual goals ahead of team goals, bad things happen, and there's proof of that, and I'd like for you guys to ask questions about that afterwards. So next we're going to talk about motivation and role taking, the final part of my documentary. There's a bunch of different ways that coaches motivate, and a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different messages that they can send, and I give 2 examples here. So a couple of these different motivational messages are things such as challenge, saying, look, you don't think that you can do this, but I know that you can, so do it. And then players put the work in and achieve it. Caution about regret. Caution about embarrassment. And then finally, coaches saying you've already put this, you already make the most out of the time that you've already, committed. Why are you here? You're here because you love it, or are you here because you feel like you have to be here? If you're here because you feel like you have to be here, then you shouldn't be here. You should move on. So I hope you guys enjoy the music that I've got. When you know your athletes and you know what types of motivational messages work for those athletes, then you know how to tailor those individual messages from an individual and team perspective. So the production process, what did I do? First, what I had to do was I had to contact coaches. I had to find out, who do I want to talk to. I wanted to talk to successful coaches because I wanted to hear what they had to say about this topic based on their success. So I researched area schools such as University of Chicago, University of Illinois, Chicago, Northwestern, St. Xavier, Trinity Christian, Trinity International, Dominican, Judson, Joliet Junior College, Triton College, and a bunch of others. And I sent an email out, called people, got a few responses, and then from there I had to schedule dates and formulate questions that I would ask players and coaches. But then the production itself, I had to go on location to talk to people, and I talked to them and asked them questions and filmed them. And then the post-production process, I edited on Adobe Audition for probably 40 to 50 hours over a span of a week or two, and then the distribution of it, I plan to host a professional training and development workshop series that will start with an introduction with definitions, and then it'll show a documentary, and then we'll talk about what we learned from the documentary, and then we will use some application activities to apply what we learned, and then we'll do that for part 1, part 2, and part 3, and then finally we will conclude with like a networking, because these will be all coaches of players 16 to 25 that are interested in improving their coaching skills, whether they're unsuccessful, successful, or new to coaching. And I will find ways to contact people in a similar way to asking them to participate in the documentary. Do a similar thing, advertising for the seminar itself. The seminar will be a volunteer thing too. So, what are some strengths about this? I think that some strengths would be that I improved leader member exchange research through a new channel. Usually leader member exchange research doesn't say much about how to make leader member exchange successful from a leader perspective. So, and not only that, but the channel is PDF's research. This is a documentary. It's a more exciting interpersonal connection. You can feel like you're having a conversation with somebody telling you stuff versus reading a PDF. So I found some new ways to effectively achieve leader-member exchange, and it's in a new channel, documentary form. And I think that my seminar idea is actually pretty unique also. I don't think there's anything else like that out there. So what did I learn? I learned that leader-member exchange works best when communication is open, honest, and genuine between leader and member because it builds trust and respect. I found that immediacy positively affects affective learning because it builds trust and respect. For production, what did I learn? You gotta plan, and you gotta plan some more. And then when your plan doesn't work, you better have plan B. So where to next for me? I've got some coaching and some umpiring gigs lined up that I think are going to help me learn the game. I'm also planning on going for a master's in coaching from Ohio University. It's a 2-year online program that I plan to start either in the fall or the spring of next year. And for my production career, I will always have that as an amateur hobby type of thing, but I also am looking to join like a recording label and do stuff like that. So the job search has commenced. So finally, who am I? A Notre Dame football coach once said, "A good coach will make his players see what they can be rather than what they are." This process helped to show me what I can be. I can be successful with hard work. I am capable, dedicated, inspired, and constantly improving. And this process has been like a good coach for me. It's helped me to realize these are my strengths and this is where I can take them in the future. My name is Casey Patton. Thank you for joining me for Leader Member Exchange, Clear Expectations, Leader Member Exchange, and Team Success. Thank you.